Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Fantasy Squad podcast on Just Good Network. I'm your co-host Jasani, and I'm with Brandon. Our other co-host Jalen, he is sick, so he's out for the moment, but we shall keep the show going. And to start off our show, we're gonna list off either some shockers or disappointments, or list off some right or wrongs that we got for the week before on our starts and sits. So, Brandon, what's some of that you got right in your starts and sits of last week?
Yeah, so let's go with a start that I got right. I urged everyone to start Dearness Johnson. With Chubb being out, I wanted everyone to have full confidence to throw Dearness Johnson into the lineup. And yeah, it worked out well. He ended up with 21 points going against a pretty tough matchup. And in a game where the Browns really didn't have that much offense. So it's pretty good to see that the only fantasy option that you could have had on the Browns that week was Dearness Johnson, and it worked out pretty well. So pretty happy with that.
Yeah, man, Darren Johnson, when he fills in for Nick Chubb or Cream, he's really good.
It's really
I'm surprised they don't like incorporate like a three-man committee kind of like, because I mean, it's kind of bad that like as soon as they come back, they just take away all his touches because he does really well with what he gets.
Yeah, man. I don't know if he'll ever carve out a role with Chubb and Kareem back, or even with just Chubb back. But yeah, it is kind of a shame that his touches get pretty much yanked completely. Um, he did have a little bit of a role, but really not much anything you could use. But yeah, it's unfortunate that he's on a team with two stud running backs ahead of him, where there are plenty of teams that could use a running back like Dearness Johnson, and he would be like a stud there, like the Ravens. But
Yeah, man.
neither here nor there.
So last week, man, I did pretty awful on my starts. I ain't gonna lie. I think I got them all wrong.
Oh
I
no.
had both the Broncos running backs starting. They did bad. I had Pat Fairmouth starting. He did bad. And I had Robert Wood starting. He tore his ACL. So
That's
that
sometimes that's how it is.
that was super tragic on my starts. But I go with both the Broncos running backs. So both Javante and Melvin. Javante had 8 rushes for 48 yards, and Melvin had 9 rushes for 45 yards and a touchdown. So obviously you're not too happy about that fantasy production against the Eagles defense that I thought would be pretty vulnerable. But I mean they kind of got manhandled by Jalen Hurts and Devontae Smith throughout the whole game, which kind of neutralized the run game. Uh, I think it's pretty clear that Melvin does get the goal line share of the work. He's the main one that kind of squeaks his way into the touchdown, and not with Javante. But I mean, from every week they split the carries pretty much almost dead even, which is kind of a good sign. I definitely do think they still like Javante a lot better, but I mean, it's just kind of hit and miss on who's going to go off and who isn't.
Yeah, I really don't see a world without injury that Javante's role really does increase. Um, whether that's a good thing or bad thing. Um, I just think they're going to be splitting 50-50 until the end of this year. And hopefully Melvin Gordon goes a separate way, and Javante can take over. But there is a chance that they bring him back, because where else is he going to go? So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. But I agree. Barring injury, I don't see how Javante can kind of assert himself as the RB1 of this role of this team. But they're both definitely fantasy options, especially given the right given the right matchup. You could definitely start them both, I think.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. Uh, Another one that I got wrong was Pat Fairmouth. He got the targets. He got a decent amount of targets. I think he got like 7 or 8 targets. But he just wasn't hauling in. Maybe that has to do with Mason Rudolph being a quarterback.
Probably.
I'm gonna have to go 90% because it's Mason Rudolph.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean they tied with the 0-1 Detroit Lions That game was just ugly from the start, and Pat had a costly fumble at the end that could have won them the game.
Mhm.
Maybe if that was Big Ben, then he might have lost trust in him. But I don't think anybody really. It's Mason Rudolph, man. I don't think
Yeah.
anybody really expected them. I mean, they expected them to win, but I mean, the game kind of went how I expected with Mason Rudolph as quarterback. The
Yeah.
offense was pretty much dead.
I think this is more or less like a throwaway game. I don't really think you can really take much from this game. Other than that the Steelers are in fact bad. I think you can't take that away.
Hmm
I don't think this will have any indication on the future of Pat Freiermuth. I think as a tight end, you could still use him. Maybe your expectations are a little bit lower, and maybe you don't use him at all when Big Ben is out. But when Big Ben is in, I mean, he does see targets on this team, so that's kind of all you can ask for a tight end. But with Mason Rudolph in, I'm sure you could find somebody else.
Exactly. Do you have any more?
Yeah, I had two more guys I said to start that in fact were busts, big old whiffs, misses. Myles Gaskin for first. I said to start him. He had a great matchup last week. In Baltimore, they're not the best against the running backs, but they have been improving recently. And last week was showed that they didn't really allow Gaskin to get anything going on the ground. Not really through the air either. He only had 5 points, so not very good. Pretty big whiff. And then another big miss that I wanted everyone to start was Mike Williams. He only had 4 receptions on 6 targets for 33 yards. I don't really know what to do with Mike Williams at this point. I mean, right now he's had more bad games than good games, and at the beginning of this year, he seemed like he was an unstoppable hidden draft gem, and now he's kind of like a landmine because you have to start him. Most teams are going to be starting him, and he's been giving you less than 9 points the last 5 weeks. So it's been really disappointing for Mike Williams. I don't really know what you do with him. Do you sit him, or do you just hope that he can get back in the end zone? This last week he did have a slant TD pass that he dropped, and it was a drop. So it's like that definitely would have changed things if he caught that. But
yeah, for sure.
7 points. I think he's had like about 7 points the last 4 weeks. He's basically hurting you at this point because you have to start him.
Yeah, I mean, it's just I don't know, man. Like the whole offense kind of took like a little back seat. I don't know if defense has kind of figured out the Chargers offense, or if Justin Herbert's kind of gotten into a little slump. But I mean, the matchups were all great. Like I mean, Minnesota, they don't really have really good corners at all. Like I think the best corner is Breland.
Yeah.
So like that's definitely exploitable matchup. I think Keenan Allen did well, but I mean I just think Mike Williams is just so one dimensional. Like he's just a deep threat guy, jump ball, and I don't think teams really let him get one-on-one coverage with corners anymore. I think they probably have to take over top of him all the time.
They don't want to get beat over top. Yeah.
I don't think he's much of a route runner per se. I think that's more Keenan's job.
Yeah, because it's fortunate because you want to be like maybe it is matchup based, and he has a juicy matchup in the Vikings, and bam, 7 points.
Yeah.
Big whiff.
Yeah.
Big whiff.
Yeah, I mean, because it's like you're never really gonna sit him unless you have someone better, but odds are you don't. And it's just like whenever you do sit him, that's when he is gonna go off.
Yeah.
We all know that.
2 touchdowns.
He's the definition of boom and bust. It's so crazy.
Yeah, it's a shame. And then I had some sits that I wanted to talk about from last week. I had 1 miss and 1 hit from last week. So Michael Carter was someone I urged everyone to sit and bench, and that was a big old miss. I did not like his matchup at all. And I didn't like the fact that his quarterback was a backup quarterback, possibly Flacco. So I was trying to avoid that Jets offense as a whole, but Michael Carter proved me wrong. He went 16 carries for 39 yards and a touchdown, and he caught 4 passes through the air. So he had a pretty good week. He had about probably like 16 points, 17 points. So pretty solid week from a guy that I urged everyone to bench. So that was a big miss. Honestly, Michael Carter might be a guy that you could kind of set and forget. What do you think about that? Do you think he's emerged on this offense?
Yeah, I would say, but I heard this week they're starting Joe Flacco, so I don't know about that.
Yeah, maybe you just avoid that offense as a whole then.
Yeah, starting with Joe Flacco. That's crazy.
All I remember from Joe Flacco was that he just targeted Jamison Crowder like a shit ton, right? Isn't that what he did last year? And he was bad. And he looked like he didn't care.
I mean, I can't imagine him caring even more now. Like, at all. I don't even know how he still gets like starting jobs, really.
I don't know. The Jets like him.
Like, I don't even know what's even wrong with Mike White. Like, I know Zach Wilson's 100%, but why does seem Mike White?
I mean, Mike White, he had 4 picks last week.
I mean, Joe Flacco's gonna throw at least 2.
I know. It's not like you're like, oh, let's put in the expert,
put in
a lot of experienced guy. He'll be better with the ball. It's like, no, he won't. And every single drive will be a waste of time.
Joe Flacco has like that Eli Manning demeanor, man. You could tell he just doesn't give a damn. Like he's just collecting a check. I feel it though. Let's see. A sit that I got right actually was DJ Moore. Unfortunately, DJ Moore is on the downhill, but maybe with Super Cam coming back, maybe his stock rises. But we shall see. Because last week he had 4 receptions for 24 yards. And that was it. He still gets the targets. Like he still leads the team in targets every week. So like that's something you kind of banking on. Like man, he gets like 7 to 8 targets every week. Like he just needs to cash in one of those touchdowns.
But unfortunately, he only catches about like 50% of them.
Yeah, man. I mean, his quarterbacks have been Sam Donald.
Yeah. It's not. It's like he's getting targets, but like those targets are like very low value because, I mean, how many of them are actually catchable? I mean, with Cam, I don't really know if you expect an increase, but who knows how the offense is going to look now. I would be, like you said, he's on the down. I would be looking to get him on my bench. This is actually a spoiler alert to some of my sits of the week, but I guess we're doubling down on sitting DJ Moore, even in this juicy matchup coming up against Washington. You might not think the same way, but for me, it's a juicy matchup. I get it. It's 31st defense, Washington, but I would bench DJ Moore if I had him anywhere. Because there's a good chance that Cam Newton is probably going to vulture some touchdowns, right, by rushing. There's a great chance that CMC is going to vulture some touchdowns, if not a lot of the passing work, and that leaves kind of a little room for DJ Moore in a game where I don't expect, I don't know, that crazy of an offensive experience from Carolina.
Yeah,
but we'll see.
I mean, Cam's wanted to get back on Ron Rivera. So.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, and his way of getting back around Rivera might be rushing like 4 touchdowns, which would just kill you if you started DJ Moore.
I'm saying, man. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, Cam, when he screamed, "I'm back," man, he had that fire in his eyes, man. That's like he's looking to prove this league wrong. So.
Are you in the boat of willing to start Cam this week in this matchup?
Oh yeah, 100%. I would definitely start Cam. Yeah, if you need a quarterback, man, it's like why not? he can't be doing any worse than like what Sam Donald's doing. And the first week he came back, he hardly knew the playbook, scored 2 touchdowns. That was more than like Sam 4 weeks. So like 2 touchdowns, no turnovers. That's pretty much all you can really hope for. And now he's gonna get the lion's share of the start against Washington, a pretty trash defense with no Chase Young now.
Yeah. I don't know. I personally would not be starting Cam. But I see the attraction there.
It's kind of like, man, you gotta ride it out at least one game.
Bro, that's like when I had to start Mike Vick like 2 or 3 years ago when he was on the Steelers. It's like, I gotta do it.
I feel like, oh no, he did pretty bad.
Not the Steelers, the Eagles. No, he was terrible. I just remember being projected like 25 points, and I was like, "Yo, this is crazy." He's projected 25. Got to start him. But I see the appeal for Cam. I personally, I don't know. I'm not buying the revenge game on Ron Rivera. I do buy the juicy matchup, and I do buy the fact that he can score you some touchdowns. But I'm not too excited about the Carolina offense with Cam back just yet. But we'll see. They have CMC back as well, so that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, it's just more of like, Cam returning home. I mean,
it's a little narrative. It's a little narrative.
Yeah, it's a little narrative. It'd be kind of cool if we go like, starts tearing up these last end of the weeks. Be able to bring Carolina to the playoffs. You might have to win comeback player of the year after that.
Okay. Let's go one step at a time here. I mean, they have a solid defense. Yeah. But we'll see.
Yeah, right.
Watch them win the Super Bowl this time against the go against the Rams, go against Von Miller again.
You sound bad.
Von Miller comes back and he says the same thing.
Yeah, right.
I'm bad. All right, we can move on to shockers and disappointments if you want to.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, a disappointment for me had been Darren Waller. I really thought it was going to be, the battle of the tight ends. Travis Kelce versus Darren Waller. They want to see who's the best tight end in the league. But I mean, Travis Kelce closed that case real quick. To be fair, Travis Kelce is on a better team, but they just they put honey bags on Darren Waller, and then pretty much it's just like a no-show. Derek Carr was throwing some awful balls. I don't know what he was doing.
Yeah, the Raiders are like garbage, man.
Yeah, Derek Carr was choking, but I mean, Darren Waller, I think he only had like 40-something yards. Let me see. Yeah. Oh no, even worse. He had 4 receptions for 24 yards. Yeah, that's pathetic. Yeah, I really thought it was gonna be a shootout, but I mean, just the Kansas City Chiefs went off.
It's kind of a revenge game for the Chiefs.
Yeah. I think the Raiders beat them last year.
They beat them. Didn't they beat them earlier this year? They kicked off their. They definitely beat them last year, and I do remember that before. And then they beat the Chiefs, and then they went and got the brakes beat off by the Falcons the week after.
Yeah, I remember.
I remember because I started Derek Carr the week after against Falcons. I was like, you just put up points on the Chiefs. You should put up points on the Falcons, and they put up like -2. Got the brakes beat off them.
I remember last year when the Raiders beat the Chiefs and John Gruden drove the bus around the stadium. Something wild.
Jeez.
What's a disappointment for you?
Let's see. A big disappointment for me. I'm gonna go with he salvaged his week with a touchdown, but I'm gonna go with James Conner. He in a game where everyone was excited after his big 40-point explosion game that he finally has a role to himself. Arizona has one RB1. It's not a committee, and the starting running back and Chase Edmonds is down. James Conner is there. He already sees the goal line touches, so if he sees anything more in reception-wise or rushing attempts, it's going to be golden. But lo and behold, he didn't really see that much more work. He still had 10 rushing attempts, which is about what he's been seeing all year. He did see 4 targets, which is more than he has seen in the past, but 2 or 3 more targets in the past, but not nearly what you expect for a whole starting running back to go down and him to step up into a different role. He didn't really step up into a different role, in my opinion, and that's kind of disappointing as a whole. He only had 39 yards on the ground and 25 yards to the air. If he didn't score that touchdown, he probably would have got you 5 to 6 points, which is not very exciting. So it was just very disappointing to see the guy that he's kind of like the waiver wire or the stash guy, that the hidden lottery ticket that very much disappointed you. So I don't know what to take of this. Do you start him? Do you trust him as the RB1 of this team? I mean, the whole Cards as a whole was pretty banged up. So do you just take this game as a grain of salt?
Yeah, I mean, I think he kind of has to start James Conner because I mean, he still leads the league in touchdowns, so he's
Yeah.
still gonna get into that end zone. And I just think the Cardinals took Carolina like for granted. I think they took them lightly just because I was like, oh, it's Cam who just got there, and we just beat the brakes off of San Francisco with Colt McCoy, so we could do the same to PJ Walker and Cam Newton, and
Yeah.
then they got shellacked by Carolina. They
Yeah.
got absolutely ran through. So I think that also took away from the running game. But I mean, he still got the garbage time touchdown. So I mean,
My big fear with James Conner is that it's just like kind of a known thing that he can't necessarily handle a big workload. Like, yes, he got it last week, but that's kind of more of like they didn't really have a game plan set. Now with the week of getting a game plan set, they decided not to give him a big workhorse workload because I think there's a genuine um, thought that they do need him for postseason more than they need him right now. So instead of turning him into a workhorse now, they're probably going to keep him in the same role that they've always had him because they need him for those touchdowns, they need him for end zones, they need him to move the ball, but they don't necessarily need him to have 20 carries a game, right? So they may not ever give him that because if they do, they're running the risk that he's going to be out for the season. So it's like
mm,
they can't just give him a full role because it's James Conner. Every time he's had a full role, a workhorse load, he's gotten hurt, and they know that they need him for the postseason. I think they're going to keep him in this in this similar role all season, and that's something to look out for. But like you said, he's leading the league in touchdowns, and that's something you can count on this team.
mm,
So that alone keeps them as an RB2, but just to kind of hamper your expectations and not get excited that you found the hidden gem of RB1 workhorse in Arizona, because I'm not sure that's entirely true.
yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, I don't think. Yeah, I mean, I just think James Conner's a touchdown dependent back. I mean, he does great for what his role is, and I think the week before against San Francisco, I just think they got blindsided. I don't think you're gonna be able. I don't think you're gonna see many games if another game like that. I think you're gonna see more games like last week where he has decent amount of touches, not that
Mhm.
many yards, but then scores a touchdown.
I
Like he's
agree.
probably gonna get like 14, 15 points, something like that.
Yeah, yeah. That 40-point week was more of like they were not expecting to be without Chase Edmonds after like his first attempt. So like after that happened, they had no choice but to give it to James Conner every time.
Yeah.
Now that they are aware, I don't think that'll be the game plan anymore. So maybe it's a trade high. Maybe you could find another person that doesn't think that way and thinks that he will be the RB1 for the remainder of the fantasy season, and maybe you can finesse that person. I wouldn't mind
Mm,
trading him away if someone. I wouldn't trade him away for nothing, obviously, because he's still
yeah.
a top 20 back. He might even be top 15 um, by now. But yeah,
And
that's my opinion.
Chase Edmonds gonna come back.
He is going to come
So
back. Yeah, and
another oh, keep going.
no, no, go ahead, go ahead.
I was gonna say another disappointment that I think disappointed a lot of people was DK Metcalf.
Mm.
I mean that whole offense. Well, obviously they got shut out, but that whole offense it just looked awful. I would have never guessed that the offense looked better with Gino than Russell Wilson when he came back. But yeah,
Yeah, man.
DK only caught 3 balls for 26 yards, and then DK, he gets a little hot head and started fighting, and he got tossed. Even though he had 8 targets, that was enough. So yeah, I mean DK definitely disappointed all, but I mean I don't think it's just him. The whole offense disappointed everybody. Against I mean the Packers defense have been playing pretty well these past couple of weeks, surprisingly. So I thought it was going to be an easy matchup. They still don't have Jair. I
Yeah.
think their corners are Kevin King and the
Mhm.
rookie from Georgia. I forgot his name. But yeah, so yeah, I mean, only 5 points. You definitely don't want that from the wide receiver one.
Yeah, dude. It's almost like Russ came back after having like a pin taken out of his finger like 3 days ago. It's like, what were they expecting? I mean, like, I guess he could have thrown a ball, but he was not accurate at all. All of his passes were garbage and short. And it just seemed like they rushed the man back, and I think the offense definitely felt that. Also, on top of that, Green Bay has, like you said, been really good against the pass with their two young corners. Not the best, and it's kind of funny how like all over social media you see like, oh, DK responds horribly to trash talking and getting under his skin, and like lo and behold, teams are like, okay, let's trash talk DK and get under his skin, and he lets them do it. Like that's what's kind of unfortunate. It's like he has to see at this point, like they're doing it on purpose to get under his skin, get in his head. But I mean, it works. Like it kind of allows it to work, which is unfortunate. He can't just block it out. But
if the NFL sees any type of weakness in your game, they're gonna exploit that every single chance you get. I'm sure in meetings they're probably telling corners like, "Hey, talk shit to him." You might get
don't
kicked
shut
out.
up.
Yeah. Like that's just his book now. It's like, hey, if you frustrate him early, he's pretty much gonna be checked out the game.
It's like do we need to get DK some like headphones so he can't listen to trash talk or something?
Saying,
like what is it? Just get over it, man.
I don't know, man. It's that ego, man. It's why the serious ego, man. I'm afraid he's gonna end up like Odell. Like he's relying on his superior athleticism and getting a bunch of targets. So if he doesn't get the targets, he's like, what am I? Which is like, that's every wide receiver, man. You just got to deal with this.
You got dudes like Justin Jefferson that like they adapt and overcome. Like and like DK's he kind of is, I don't know. He kind of seems like he's going to be a little bit of a one-trick pony as well. It's hard to see him overcoming adversity like that, as opposed to where you see like Justin Jefferson like only getting better regardless. Like teams are actually starting to like phase against Justin Jefferson now, and he's still like the Vikings are like, we need to get him the ball as much as we can. So it's like not really working that way for DK in that same aspect, which is interesting. Who's another disappointment? Oh, I guess I'll go. Another disappointment that I want to talk about that probably stabbed a lot of people in the back is TJ Hawkinson getting you a big old goose egg. And it's not the fact that he had targets and just like they happen to not go his way, but the man saw no targets. He went 0 for 0 on 0. Like, what can you do with that? Like, you have to just not. You can't trust that anymore. You can't trust at this point in the fantasy year, especially in the playoffs. You can't be starting dudes that have an opportunity to like not even be a part of the game plan. Which is insane.
He's literally just out there running wind sprints at that point.
Yeah, he's literally out there doing conditioning, dude. And it's like you can't have that in your fantasy lineup, especially come playoff time. I mean, if you've been relying on Hawkinson all year, you definitely need to be having another guy, at least on your team, because games like this can happen. And this is a game that they had. This is their best game of the season. They tied. And they didn't use Hawkinson once. So do with that as you will. But yeah, big, massive disappointment. I think you can call it a fluke game, but you can't get goose eggs.
Yeah, man. I just think, man, Jared Goff is awful, actually. He's just looking worse and worse, and Sean Vay's looking even more of a genius to get up off of him so early. It's just like, I mean, he's seen Sean Vay saw him every day in practice. He's like, yo, I can't win with this dude.
Jared Goff will be like getting dragged down by his hips, and he'll just like launch the ball in the air. You're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, dude. He's like inches away from like taking a sack. He just launches that. No damn well he doesn't see anybody.
He did a no-look screen pass to Swift that just went straight into the dirt because he wasn't looking. He just threw it over there, and it was just so sad to see. So sad. But that's what you get with Goff.
That's what you get with Detroit. It is what it is. Like nobody expected Detroit to be anything.
I don't think Dan Campbell's going to be the guy that drags that team into any wins this season, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't think they're ever going to be relevant until they get like a superstar quarterback. Like eventually, keep getting a number one pick. Eventually, I'll get that guy. Hopefully.
I thought it was hilarious how they had like 2 kick opportunities to like win this game, get the first win over the Steelers. And the kicker, I don't even know who the kicker was, but this man kicked like a 43-yard field goal, like short. Like not even left, not even wide right, not hitting the pole, literally like 5 yards short. It was like, wow, that's the Lions kicker right there. It's amazing.
Yeah, man. That game was just disgusting to watch. Like he literally they had like 2 fumbles just handing them the game and they couldn't do anything with it.
Yeah.
That's
trash. Do you have any shockers or any more disappointments?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we did a Hawkinson. Oh, another disappointment from last week was AJ Brown.
Yes.
Geez, like he only had like 2 points or something like that.
Yep.
I don't know what. At first, I thought he got hurt. I thought he like hit his head pretty hard.
I saw that too.
But I think he came back in the game. Like I don't think he was out with fucking concussion or anything.
He definitely came back in the game and played the whole game.
Yeah, and then played against New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, New Orleans has a decent defense. You know, I mean, Marshall Lattimore's pretty good, but I don't think he's 1 reception, 16 yards. You know, that kind of good corner. I mean, if that's the case, he completely just shut out AJ Brown.
I think it is kind of a little bit of a Marshawn Lattimore can do that to some guys, and for whatever reason, he did that to AJ Brown.
Yeah, I think Marshall Lattimore's the type of corner to where like he doesn't have like an average game. He either shuts you completely out or he gets his shit wrong.
Yeah, or he fights you.
Yeah, well, he fights Mike Evans
while shutting him down.
Yeah, he gets up from Mike Evans every week.
I think he can. I think he just has that ability to kind of shut down that guy, like you said, like sometimes. And maybe going against New Orleans, you think about benching your alpha receiver, because he has done that to other alpha receivers in the past. I guess fortunately, they don't really have another DB besides Marshawn Lattimore that I could name.
Yeah.
So you can start the other options. But yeah.
I think Marshawn. It seems that Marshall Lattimore does really well against those big physical
boys?
receivers. Yeah,
I think so.
Physical guys
like Mike Evans. Yeah, AJ Brown.
He did well against Julio. Like those big physical receivers for some reason. I mean, he is. I mean, Marshall's kind of big. He's like 6'1", 6'2", so he messes up.
Maybe that's his archetype. That's his. That's his count. He counters big boys.
When they get smoked by the speedy guys.
Yeah. Can't cover. Or like the dudes that could actually like run those and cut.
Those crisp routes.
Yeah.
Like a Mars or something. You got any shockers?
Let's go to shockers. I'm gonna bring up first and foremost the Chiefs running back Daryl Williams, the running back that's being used exactly the way we all hoped and dreamed Clyde would be used.
Yeah, man. That literally, I saw that again. I was like, that should literally be Clyde. What y'all using Jared Williams for is what y'all drafted Clyde for. He's a pass-catching back. And y'all threw him like 10 balls for like 100 yards. Like, I don't understand what y'all think Clyde is.
The man had 11 attempts for 43 yards. Not that great, but he had 9 catches on 9 targets for over 100 receiving yards, which is insane. I mean, you might even say shocking. And he had a TD reception. And then you're like, that's exactly what Clyde needs to be doing. Why don't they use Clyde in this exact role? Why is it when the RB2 comes in, he gets like the exact RB1 role that you wanted, but when Clyde is there, he's seeing not at all. He doesn't see any. He sees like 3 targets and he sees maybe 15 attempts a game. But you hope to see, maybe this will translate once Clyde comes back. I do have that note here. I think that this team has shifted more to a run game because of how teams have been defending them with this cover 2, stop the big play, let them run on us. And the Chiefs have struggled to get that run game going, which has really stunted their offense the last couple of weeks. But it seems like they're trending in a direction of starting to try and run more. And I think with Clyde back, I think that's how that's how I like to think. I think they will be using Clyde a lot more when he returns. Just because of how defenses are trying to scheme out Tyreek and trying to scheme out the big play on them. They'll have to basically run their way out of that defensive scheme. And I think when Clyde returns, they're going to try and do that. What do you think?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Mahomes is starting to learn to the big play doesn't always have to be there. That if you take the check downs, then they have to start coming up. Yeah, and then that's when you can take those deep shots.
Yeah.
So I think Mahomes, his best game is when he threw the running back 9 balls, and then he did a lot of check downs to Travis Kelce. So
and he killed him.
yeah, he absolutely
eviscerated
him. And
he went back to QB1 on the year after that week.
Yeah, absolutely. The Raiders are trash, but I think Andy Reid and Mahomes should definitely look at that game and be like, all right, well, they're going to give us these short 10 passes. We can just run down the field.
We'll just take it.
Yeah, take it, and then at the very worst, should be 3rd and short. And then you can do whatever you want from there.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely think when Clyde comes back, I think they should use him like Daryl Williams, have him run just a little bit. He's been hurt this past 2 years ever since he got in. I don't think he's a between the tackles type running back. He's definitely a pass catcher, screener type running back. He's not a big dude. So I don't think they're using him in the right way, in my opinion. But
they definitely have not been. Yeah. But maybe he'll get the Daryl Williams treatment once he comes back. We'll see.
Probably not, but
probably not.
Let's see. A shark that I have was AJ Dillon. Aaron Jones went down with an MCL sprain, and AJ Dillon came in and absolutely started dominating them. He had 70 yards rushing, but he had 2 touchdowns. And both of those touchdowns, you can just tell he's such a physical back. Both of those touchdowns he was pushing the pile 5-10 yards. He was just carrying dudes. I saw him literally carry Bobby Wagner on one of the plays. I was like, man, you don't ever really see Bob Wagner just get carried. Unless it's like Derek or something. But yeah, AJ Dillon, he's a massive running back. So he is a little spoiler. He's on my start of the week against Minnesota. With Aaron Jones definitely out this week, maybe be out next week. He should fill in that RB1 role because Aaron Rodgers trusts him to catch, so he does throw him a decent amount of balls, and he can handle between the tackles. So that's pretty much all you really want from a running back. You can catch and run. That's pretty perfect. And they drafted him in the 2nd round, so to definitely see a lot of high value in him. And now that Aaron, they got him for this reason in case Aaron Jones goes down. So I definitely think he should get 17 touches, probably gets 4 or 5 receptions. I definitely think he's going to score at least once. So
do you know who his matchups are these next 2 weeks?
I know next week is Minnesota. I gotta look to see what's the week after.
Yeah, there might even be. Minnesota game might be pretty close, but if it's blowaway games, he might.
Oh, it's the Rams. It's the Rams next week.
Okay, so he's got some. There's some okay matchups. Not in terms of against the running back, but they will have a game at least.
The Rams have been surprisingly awful against the run.
Yeah.
I don't even know how Von Miller and Aaron Donald. They're just beginning rocked on the run for some reason.
They've been surprisingly bad the last 2 or 3 weeks now.
Yeah, your defense
since
and
Odell
offense hasn't been good. Yeah, everybody's blaming Odell. I was like, how do you work?
I don't know, but the math adds up, bro.
Such a dependent position. Doesn't play defense. It's Odell's fault. But they lost these past 2 weeks. Yeah, it was Odell's fault when Matthew Stafford threw 2 picks to Titans.
Bro, that first pick, he tried to throw that random 70-yard Hail Mary pass to Odell. So bad.
Yeah.
What was
the
that
way he threw
dead
it, the way he threw it, I thought Odell was wide open. I was like, oh man, Odell's he's about to do the hardest dance once he catches his
It
touchdown.
wasn't
Now
even
I
on
saw two
target.
DBs in the middle, and Odell was like 10 yards back. I was like, wait a minute, where is he throwing it to?
Like, what is
Oh,
Stafford doing, man?
I saw Odell
Yeah,
crack him though. That's
yeah, that
it.
was a highlight. That was a highlight play.
That was let's see. And my last, I only had two Sharkers this week because I don't know. I felt like this week was it's a pretty tame week for some reason.
Yeah,
Like nobody really went crazy except for like the people that you expected, like
yeah.
Jonathan Taylor and those like the top guys. So guys, it was a shocker was uh Mark Ingram. Mark Ingram filled in for Alvin Kamara, and he broke the Saints all-time rushing record. Uh, so yeah, he did pretty well that game against Tennessee. Let's see, how many yards did he get? He had 14 attempts for 47 yards and a touchdown, but he had four receptions for 61 yards. That's where he did a lot of his damage was on those part of those little check down players from Trevor Simeon. You know, he can't really throw like that. Mark Ingram was kind of shocker because I was just been used to Mark Ingram from the Houston days. So I didn't really think he was going to do that well once he got the starting job. But I mean, we're seeing these guys do well once they get those reunion teams like Cam Newton and Mark Ingram.
Yeah, yeah.
And we have a question from. Oh, I could put the question up. Look at me.
Oh,
Yeah, man. From Gigi. He asked or she Zach Marshall or Alex Collins. uh,
I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna
go with
say
Alex Collins, if I'm gonna be honest.
is
And
Alex
I don't
Collins
like it.
salty?
I think so. I don't think.
I
Wait,
know
let's make
Chris
sure
Carson is supposed to come back from IR,
he
but
been supposed to come back for IR for so long though. Okay, I see a thing on Wednesday. It says Pete Carroll noting that the running back Chris Carson has not progressed the way the Seahawks had hoped.
mm, yeah,
There's
that's not
not
good
that much
talking about.
details. But who are the Buffalo Bills playing this week? Oh, they're
They're
playing.
playing against the Colts. They're playing against the Colts.
So Zach Moss against the Colts or Alex Collins. Who the hell? Let's see how it's playing.
I'm gonna, yeah, I think I'm gonna have to go with Alex Collins. And Zach Moss just isn't good, man.
Arizona.
Like, it's just more of like Zach Moss just isn't good, and they don't run the ball. Like
They don't run the ball.
at least the Seahawks runs the ball a decent amount.
I
Uh,
think as though though the Seahawks offense is significantly worse, Alex Collins should get like 14 to 15 carries. Yeah.
hmm
Whether he'll do anything with those carries, I can't really guarantee. But I would rather 14 to 15 carries than like 9 to 10 carries on a better offense. How are the Colts been against the run? That's the question.
The Colts are pretty good against the run. You know, remember they stuffed Lamar. They're second against the run.
Yeah. I'm going Alex
I'm
Collins.
definitely faded away from Zach Moss. So
I'm not excited about it. But
yeah,
I'm locking
definitely. I
that.
would say if you had literally any other option, I would go with that. But since you only to these two, I'm gonna go with Alex Collins.
While we wait for more questions, yeah, if anyone listening, feel free to drop your questions, trade questions, anything. And we'll answer as right away as we see them.
We'll put them up on the screen too.
Yeah, figure that out.
Yeah.
I had two more shockers I want to bring up. They didn't really boom on you, but they were just shocking that they did great. I guess one is maybe we stop being shocked that he scores a touchdown every single week, but Hunter Henry for your tight end, if you've just picked him up because you needed help these last couple of weeks, he's given you a touchdown. I believe he's 7 touchdowns in the last 7 weeks. However, he did just get 2, so he did miss a week where he didn't get a touchdown. But it seems like that's almost one of the most sure things you could bet on is Hunter Henry, like ending up in the pay dirt at least one time in the game, because that's just Mac's guy in the end zone. It's just how it is. And I think you could kind of bet on that in this New England offense for him to get a touchdown. He's currently a top 5 touchdown of the year, and it's not due to him like exploding for a crazy amount of points every so often. It's for him being literally consistent as hell these past couple of weeks, just getting you 15 every single week, and that's pretty much all you can ask for a tight end. So Hunter Henry has been very, very helpful for people struggling in the tight end zone for sure.
Yeah, Hunter Henry is definitely a touchdown magic for the Patriots, and now they have the Falcons coming up, and they just got smashed by the Cowboys.
Start them up, put them in your lineup. You can trust them.
The Falcons defense is just I don't know how they would ever get better. But,
man, and the fact that they don't have an offense either, it's like, why would their defense even try at this point?
They're gonna get ran out that building.
And then my last shocker is I'm gonna go with Antonio Gibson, the Gibby.
He did pretty well.
Man. He did pretty good against the Bucks, man, and that's not a team that you start running backs against. And it's interesting here because it was a game that you kind of expected to see J.D. McKissic because you expected them to be behind and chasing the Bucks points wise. But that's not at all what happened. Somehow, some way, this is a game that they came out on. They came out fast and on top, and they definitely showed their hand and their game plan that when they are winning a game, J.D. McKissic will not touch that ball. When they're winning the game, they just hand the ball off to Gibby and just run the clock out and hold on to that lead as hard as they can. And that worked this week. So I do think that is a good sign for Gibby in terms of when they are winning, they will use him. And when J.D. McKissic, and when they are behind, J.D. McKissic does get to see some touches. Unfortunately, that's not something you could really predict ever because it's the Washington football team, and they just did that to Tampa Bay. So no one predicted that. You're never, ever going to be able to be like, this is a game I think Washington will be ahead, and therefore I'm excited to start Gibby, which is unfortunate. And vice versa. I mean, most games you kind of say like, maybe J.D. McKissic could get touches, but you can't risk it. If they do happen to start out on top, he's not going to see the ball. So Antonio Gibson, definitely a big shocker for him to put up 21 points against Tampa Bay. Unfortunately, it's going to be hard to guess which weeks you're going to be excited to start him and not. For these reasons.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, I think the game script went perfectly for Gibson. Like, they're trying so hard not to get the ball back to Tom Brady.
Yeah, and run that clock out. A 10-minute drive to win the game.
I ain't never seen that.
It's like 23 plays to go like 70 yards. How do you do that?
I'm sure Tom Brady was just fuming. He was probably in the beginning. He was like, "Oh yeah, I got this. I'll win.
I'll get 5 minutes.
Get the ball back. I get 5 minutes. I guess I still get 3. 2.
All right, 2-minute warning.
Don't get the ball.
20 seconds.
Y'all can't stop Heineke once. Yeah, I mean, Heineke has the Bucks numbers for some reason.
Somehow.
Maybe Ron Rivera does. Let's see. I don't have any more shockers. Those were just my last 2. Let's see. A start for me. I already said Cam Newton. I would say another start for me, which might be a little shocker. I'm going to go with Tyler Lockett just because I expect Russell Wilson to have a bounce back game. And even last week, Tyler Lockett still had 8 or 9 targets. I just think Russell Wilson was rusty. And I think this week he'll get out of his slump against Arizona. And, this is the division game. So I definitely think he's going to get up for this one. So I think Tyler Lockett should have a pretty decent game. I know Arizona is pretty decent against the pass, but I mean, I assume Byron Murphy will be on DK, and then Tyler Lockett should have the other corner. And I definitely think Russell Wilson likes Tyler Lockett the best. He's usually his most fair target. He has the best connection. So I'm going on a little little gamble this week, and I would say Tyler Lockett should have a bounce back game this week.
Yeah, I like this start because I think this is a guy that a lot of people that have Tyler Lockett will be looking for help. They'll be like, should I bench him? Can you bench Tyler Lockett? Is that a good idea? Like a lot of people are probably hoping to bench him this week. So I think that's good advice. I think people do need a little bit of a push to get Lockett in their lineups because of how he's been. But I think the metrics are all there, and what you said, DK should be getting that number one coverage, and it should be leaving Tyler Lockett open for some deep plays. And I can't imagine Russ after last week's performance not coming out this week with a massive chip on his shoulder to put up a huge game, especially against the Cardinals, who might be missing and might be a little bit banged up. So it might be a perfect opportunity for Russ to just put up as many points as he can.
Yeah, he might be able to sneak a dub against the division opponent. I'm not sure if Kyle's playing. I don't know if D-Hop's
playing, yeah.
Yeah, and like last week, that was the first time Russell Wilson's ever been shut out in his career. So he's fuming over that.
Yeah. But we do know JJ Watt won't be playing, and that's okay for Russell Wilson.
And it's like, I just think Russell was looking to prove, like, hey, I came back fast just because I feel good. I believe I can, carry this team. Like the division is not as good as it looked in years past. The Rams been losing, San Francisco's been losing.
Yeah.
Obviously Seahawks have been losing too, but I mean they could still. I mean if they go on a little streak, they might be able to sneak into a wild card. So there's still chances. I think Russell Wilson's gonna have that bounce back game. And we all know Tyler Lockett is due for one of those boom games. He's been quiet for a little too long. Time to explode.
All right. One of my starts of the week. Now I know I'm double dipping in a guy who actually literally just stabbed me in the back this last week. Some guy that I said would be a start of the week, and he got me 5 points. But I am double dipping in the Myles Gaskin train. Come on, dude. They have the Jets this week. Everyone and their mother has been able to run on the Jets. The Patriots had 4 running backs. I did not misspeak. 4 running backs and in the top 20 in their matchup against the Jets. I have to believe that the one running back on Miami could at least end in the top 20 against the Jets. They are 32nd against the run, and it's not even close on who's like the next worst against the run. I'm all in on Myles Gaskin this week. I'm actually all in on all of the main starters on Miami, that being Tua and Waddle as well. It's the Jets. I can't say that anymore. And the Jets are starting Flacco. So who knows how long the Jets will have the ball, and time of possession. They might have the ball for a total of 15 minutes this game. So I'm firing up a Gaskin. I know he just backstabbed you last week, but if there's any time you can trust Myles Gaskin, it's this week. Come on. It's this week. Put him in.
Yeah. They never learn, man.
Bro, I'm calling for a huge week, man. And if it doesn't happen this week, then you know you can just throw them away.
Yeah, a leopard never changes spots, man.
Oh, come on, bro.
The dude can't run.
He can on the Jets. I'm buying that.
All right. I mean that's fair. I mean, yeah.
I'm just buying that Miami as a whole will basically just stomp the Jets. I'm trying to get as many Miami options as I
can. You hope so.
I'm including the defense on that because their defense has been pretty good these last 2 weeks as well.
Yeah, I mean Miami does only have 2 more wins than Jets, so not very good either.
It was a hard fought wins.
Yeah, they tried. With no help of Gaskin though.
Hey, bro. He is their RB1 by far and their wide receiver 2 by far.
That is true. Another start from me. I would have to say Leonard Fournette. I mean, I assume if you have him, you're already kind of starting him. But I mean, he's just been a very solid running back. Like it doesn't matter how the game script is going, even if they're losing or if they're winning. Usually he gets his touches. Um, Last week they were down, but I mean he did a lot of damage in the passing game. He had 8 receptions for 45 yards. He had 11 attempts for 47 yards. The fact that Leonard can catch passes now really boosts up his stock. So yeah, I think you can kind of sit him and forget it. Leonard now. He's playing against the Giants, who are 27th against the run. They're pretty bad. The Bucks have lost 2 games in a row now. I don't think Tom Brady's going to stand for 3 games in a row, especially against the Giants.
Mm-mm.
So I definitely think they're going to come out on fire. I'm sure Tom Brady's having one hell of a practice this week. So I definitely think Leonard is going to be a top 15 running back this week.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he kind of just reeled and bodied his way to the RB1 of this team, and this team has
Hmm.
not looked back. Even though he hasn't been insanely like efficient and insane with his touches by any means, the team likes him way more than Rojo. Rojo's not even a factor on this team, and this is one of the best offenses in the league. Um, you could kind of safely bet that he will maybe fall in the end zone once or twice a week, and he'll at least get 15 to 18 touches a week. And like I said, now he's been used in the pass game. Who's to say he's not an RB1, which is annoying.
Yeah,
Because who else is there to take away from his role?
Rojo.
Yeah, Rojo, who they hate, and Giovanni Bernard. I don't know if he's there or not. I don't. He might be hurt. Who knows? Who cares?
He's just disappears, man. He's just a body at this point.
Yeah, but they love Leo, and I don't think it's going to change. So this might be a low-hanging fruit and kind of an obvious start here, but my next start of the week. This is going to be like my start of the week. I think he's going to have possibly RB top 5 finish, and that's going to be Joe Mixon against the Raiders. This is the team that just allowed Damian Williams to put up 30 points on them. And I'm thinking this is a good game for Joe Mixon to also just go off if they use him, both in the passing game and the rushing game. They give him so many carries and so much workload against the Raiders. I think he's going to have a great game. They're 24th against running back. And like I said, they just let Damian Williams put up 30 bomb on them. And I think Joe Mixon's way better than Damian Williams. So fire up your Joe Mixon for a top 5 week, in my opinion. Probably do that with all your Bengals options. They kind of had the receivers had a pretty weak showing 2 weeks ago when they last played.
Yeah, they play against the Jets. They lost against the Jets, right?
Well, not about the Jets.
I'm pretty sure they lost against the Jets.
The Bengals?
Oh no, but it did lose against the Jets, but they played against Cleveland and then got rolled. So
yeah, I think I'm calling for a big bounce back for probably all the Bengals players, but I think Joe Mixon's gonna have a massive week. Yeah. And then, I mean, that's just kind of like a obvious. Everyone's starting him, but one guy I didn't want to bring up is New England running backs as well for starts of the week. Definitely Damian Harris. I think he's cleared to play from concussion protocol. And since it was concussion protocol, you kind of just expect him to get back in the lineup and be back to normal. He doesn't have a hamstring issue that you're going to worry about him re-aggravating. And I think he will see a heavy workload against Atlanta Falcons, who's 28th against everything. So I think you could trust Damian Harris in his first game back. I also think you could trust Stevenson a little bit if you have to in this game, because he's been so good in play that they're not going to not give him touches. And it's Atlanta. He could take any touch to the house. I think the Pats are really going to dominate this game. And they're probably going to use their running backs to do that. So I'd be down to start both Damian Harris and Ramondre Stevenson.
Yeah. Has Damian cleared concussion protocol yet?
I think he did. I think today he was at practice and I saw his cue got taken away.
Mm. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, usually dudes aren't in protocol for 2 weeks like that.
Yeah.
And she got you shit rocked.
Yeah, it says he's healthy. He's got a healthy designation status.
That's good. Let's see. Another start that I have. Well, we can go to sits now.
Okay.
Because the other starts was just Cam Newton and AJ Dillon. We already kind of talked about them.
Yeah.
A sit I have is DeAndre Hopkins, which I know if you have him, you probably don't want to hear that because you probably picked him for a high pick or you traded a lot for him. But D Hop has been injured for the past 2-3 weeks with a hamstring injury, and we all know how those hamstrings come and go. He's questionable for this weekend. We don't even know if he's going to be able to go or not. If he does go, I'm assuming he's going to be on a snap count. There's no way to just put him out there for a full game like that. And even if he does, I don't ever trust players coming off an injury, especially when it's a tissue injury like that, just because you just never know. He'd be in for a couple of series, he takes himself out, or re-aggravates and it doesn't return. So I'm gonna comfortably sit D Hop this week against what did we just say? Seattle. Yeah, I'm gonna comfortably sit him. Even though this is a juicy matchup if he was healthy, but he just isn't. And we don't even know Kyle's playing. So Kyle's not playing, that's definitely a sit.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with this fully.
Yeah.
And I honestly think D-Hop is a great trade candidate right now because he does still have that name value that some people might still enjoy, even though he hasn't really had that value this season. So I think you might be able to get something for him. And if you need a starter, like if you're benching D-Hop because, he's questionable this week and Kyler might be sitting and you're starting someone that's just like, way worse, I'd be willing to basically take what I can get for D Hop if I'm in like a win now mode, I would definitely be willing to do that. And that's hard to be able to do. So that's what I'm telling you guys out there, you D Hop owners, you can cash in on what you can get for him because soft tissue issues at his age is not something you can just kind of brush off and like, oh, he'll be back to full capacity in like a week or so. Like, hamstring has been hampering Julio for like 3 years now.
Yeah.
D Hop is almost 30. Yeah. That's like, and D Hop is like 28, 29. So he's not the young buck he once was where he could just play uninjured. Let's see. Sits of the week for me this is going to be a big one, and it's going to be hard because who else are you going to start in this position? But I'm going to go with it anyways. It's Kyle Pitts. His opponent is New England, and they rank number 2 against tight ends, which is terrible to start with. To add to that, New England is notorious or very well known to be taking out your number 1 option and basically phase them out of the game and make you beat them with your second and third option. And then to topple on top of that, the Falcons will be missing Calvin Ridley, obviously, and maybe might be missing Cordero Patterson for an ankle sprain, which leaves the number 1 option to be no question to be Kyle Pitts. So New England's definitely going to be basically phasing out Kyle Pitts with their already studly tight end defenders that they have. And they're going to basically say, Falcons, if you want to win, you got to win with Mike Davis, Zacchaeus, and Russell Gage. And that's going to be difficult. And I don't think – Pitts probably will see the targets, but I just can't imagine him having a great game in this matchup. So I would be looking to start someone else. If I had Hunter Henry and Kyle Pitts, I would honestly be starting Hunter Henry over Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, it's definitely not going to be a pretty sight on Thursday. I definitely think the Falcons are going to get rolled. They pretty much don't have any of their offense. Cordero was like 60% of the offense. They don't have that. Mike Davis is literally nothing. And Kyle Pitts, he's great, but I've seen teams just put their corners on him because he's pretty much a wide receiver. and roll coverage to him. So I mean, he's kind of starting to struggle a bit just because teams are focusing on him because we literally don't have anybody else.
Yeah.
Maybe once Kyler comes back, it'll soften up the covers for him. But right now, it's
Yes.
just only him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. It's just like a perfect storm of Ridley being out and Cordero being out. Possibly. We don't know if Cordero's out yet, but like if he is, like all eyes are gonna be on Pitts.
hmm
So it's like there's gonna be 4 dudes covering Pitts, and they might even leave like Russell Gage completely open just to like, bait them. Because I mean, you just got if you stop Pitts, I don't know who on this offense on the Falcons is gonna beat you. It's not gonna be Mike Davis. That's for sure.
yeah, we all know that's for sure.
Every
Yeah,
play that Mike Davis touches the ball is just a wasted play. It is a throwaway play.
yeah, man. Might as well just go with Cordero every play at that point. And it's like,
Yeah.
and the Patriots have like a really good defense. I mean, they
Mhm.
just decimated the Browns. They made it hard for Justin Herbert. Pretty much everybody they're playing. They made it even hard for Tom Brady when he came back. So I
Yeah.
mean, it's Matt Ryan. So Matt Ryan's all right, but he
But
ain't all that.
yeah.
Especially if you don't have his weapons. I
Especially
think
yeah,
it's gonna be
without any weapons, dude. It sucks for Matt Ryan this year, man.
yeah, it's
Primetime
definitely
game.
pretty tough. Yeah,
Yeah.
primetime game, and I think Judon's going to be all up in his face with our terrible O line.
Yeah.
So that's another thing. So yeah, I definitely. I mean, I don't think people. It'd be hard to. It would hurt to sit Pitts. It would hurt a lot to sit Pitts.
It'll be hard to find another tight end that you'd be like willing to start. But I mean the main one I could think of is I would start Hunter Henry over Pitts, and they're in the same game.
Yeah, I agree. Another a sit I have is Josh Jacobs. He's just been a huge disappointment this year. I don't think he's ever going to bounce back. The Raiders are just in shambles. And I just heard from like Troy Aikman and them. It's just like, maybe just what happened with the Raiders with John Gruden and Rudd and Arnett. It's just too much for a team. And it's like, nobody really blames them for really sucking because, I mean, they have an interim head coach. They lost 2 of their top draft picks and lost their head coach. And they had all that drama swirl around them. Like, it'd be pretty impressive if they were still good.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just a lot to ask for a team. And Josh Jacobs has just been dealing with injuries. The O line's terrible. He just
Yep.
doesn't look the same this year. So I'd
Yeah.
definitely be comfortable sitting Josh Jacobs this week.
Yeah, I agree, and the Raiders kind of just like don't really have an offensive identity, like it used to be like
Yeah.
run, Darren Waller, and then run some more. But now it's like who knows what the hell they're doing? I don't think they know what they're doing. Someone's calling Madden plays back there. It's because they're not even like they don't run the offense through Darren Waller anymore, and they're not running the offense through Josh Jacobs anymore. They're just like kind of just running the offense and calling plays. Like I feel like there's no game plan. Like they're not trying to establish anything. They're just playing football out there.
Yeah. It just seems like the players are checked out. They're trying to get to the season.
Yeah, and they're using Kenyon Drake way too much, and I don't think they're going to stop using Kenyon Drake. Ever since the Gruden regime ended and they have this new coach, they've actually been using Kenyon Drake quite a lot. So that might be prescriptive of their game plan this new regime likes to use Kenyon Drake, and that sucks for Josh Jacobs. Because Kenyon Drake catches a lot of passes in this offense, something he didn't do in the Cardinals, but that's something he does do here. And that sucks for Josh Jacobs because Josh Jacobs is a great bowling ball between the tackles and being a physical runner. But it was nice when he would get 4 to 5 catches a game to keep him a little bit more relevant. If he doesn't get those catches, which he hasn't been, he can bust. And if he's not going to score a touchdown, which he probably won't on this offense very often, you really just got to – it's like matchup based if you ever want to trust Josh Jacobs. But you pretty much got to sit him as much as you can, I think.
Yeah, you just can't really trust him.
A sit for me. This will be my last sit because I already talked about DJ Moore earlier and why I think you should sit him this week. But my last sit is going to be Odell. It doesn't really matter. Just sit him. Just wait until something happens. I know a lot of people were excited about this hype train and Odell joining them, and immediately Woods going down, and now Odell's going to become Woods in this offense. It's a little bit too narrative, and this whole offense as a whole is struggling. They don't really know how they're going to implement Odell yet, it seems. So I'm going to just sit and wait on that. I'll bench Odell. Odell for the rest of the season. I know he has a bye week this week, but not trusting him for the rest of the season, probably.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, it's just hard to get acclimated with the offense when you just got there a week. And I don't really think like the rest of the season is enough for you to get like a deep connection with your quarterback.
Yeah,
I think that's something you got to build in the preseason and OTAs and stuff like that. Just doing that mid-season, that's tough for any player.
Yeah. And you could tell these last weeks they kind of have been trying to, well, I don't know why Stafford has been trying to, but he'll just try and force Odell the ball randomly. And every single time he's done that, it's been a really dumb idea. So I doubt he'll be just throwing deep Hail Mary passes to Odell again, but he might. It is Stafford. He is known to be doing that kind of play, hoping for the best.
Yeah. My last start is going to be Carson Wentz. He did absolutely terrible against the Jags last week, which is pretty surprising because the Jags aren't good at all. He pretty much got carried by JT in the running game. He really didn't do anything. And now he's playing against the number one defense in the Buffalo Bills. They're the number one in takeaways and number one in against the run. So I definitely think Carson Wentz is going to struggle for this week against the Bills. So I definitely think you can sit him comfortably.
Yeah. Yeah, this might be a big Jonathan Taylor game.
So we have a question from Smith over here. He said, AJ Brown or DK for the rest of the season? I am going to have to go with AJ Brown. Just because he is the undisputed wide receiver one of the team. You don't have Derek, so they're going to have to be passed up. I know he just absolutely shut the bed last week against
Marshawn Lattimore.
Against the Saints. Yeah, Marshawn Lattimore against the Saints. But, I mean, he's not the type of player to have two bad games in a row like that. I definitely think he's going to bounce back. And Ryan Tannehill still always looks for A.J. Brown every time he drops back. Especially, now they're and Julio's on IR. So I don't think that's even less competition for targets. And with DK, it's just, I would say it is kind of close. It's definitely not a huge gap. It's just DK, for one, he's a hothead. So you don't really know if he's going to throw a tantrum, get kicked out the game, or just be checked out in the game because he's not getting his target. And two, there's Lockett that Russ really likes in the offense. He has like the best connection on deep balls with Lockett. So it's not like he's the undisputed, clear-cut wide receiver one of the offense. And, Pete Carroll, he's still a run first. Like, he likes to run the ball still. So all that together, that's what I would lean more to A.J. Brown. But, yeah, you're right. It is close.
It's definitely close, and it could definitely go either way. I'm not saying this as a bad thing for DK at all, but I also would lean more towards A.J. Brown for reasons that Jasani said. He's just a clear-cut alpha here. And now with Derek down, they have no choice but to, really lean on A.J. Brown. And Julio down, they have really no choice but to really lean on A.J. Brown and to really win games. And, I mean, the Titans have been trending up these last couple of weeks. They do kind of have the division clinched. So, maybe they won't be passing that much as the year gets like later into playoff season. So maybe that is a little bit of more on the DK side. Do you buy into that at all, Sonny? Because
I'm not sure.
how many
Just
times are they
because
passing?
I mean, I think they want to keep. They might secure the division, but I think they're trying to get the number one seed in the AFC.
Yeah. You know what? I think you're right because Jalen was actually telling me about this. If they get that week 1 bye, then they might be able to have. I mean, they just get that extra week for Derek to rest, and then he's back.
Yeah.
So they definitely want that.
Yeah,
So
right
then
now
maybe
the number.
scratch what I was saying. So maybe they will be going for it every single week till the end of the season. So yeah, AJ Brown honestly over DK, but I think DK will still probably be a top 10 guy, top 12 guy maybe.
Yeah, it's just I think DK just has the potential to be more boom or bust than AJ Brown, in my opinion. So yeah, but I mean, yeah, like we said, it is close. You can't really go wrong with either one if you have both. If that's what you're asking.
Maybe you got to trade.
If you're trying to trade, I'll probably still say AJ. Let's see. So we finish our. Do you have any more sits, or is that your last one?
I don't have any more sits.
I mean, I have one more name. I would say Saquon Barkley. I think he's supposed to come back this week. Like I said, man, my rule of thumb, just always give it a week when players come back off injuries. I know Saquon's probably your top running back, but just if you've been surviving this far without him, you can survive one more week. You give him one more week, just to make sure he's healthy, just make sure he's good, the ankle's all straight, and then you can start on confidence. But yeah, I'm definitely benching Saquon against Tampa, who's pretty good against the run.
Anyway. Yeah. I almost put Saquon in on my sits of the week as well for the same reasons. It'll be interesting to see what happens in this game because everyone on the Giants is supposed to be coming back from the dead this week. So I think like Kenny Galladay was making a return, and maybe Sterling Shepard will return, and also Saquon. I don't know what the heck Tony's doing. I'm pretty sure he's fine. So maybe this will be the first time we see the full offense playing together. But I can't imagine it being a great time. I just can't. So I agree. I would bench Saquon as well. For sure.
All right. I think those are all of our starts and sits of the week.
Yeah. I don't think any more questions are going to be coming in. So
yeah. I think it's a good place to end the show.
Yeah.
I appreciate we appreciate everybody stopping by and asking questions and stopping by the squad to watch us, to listen to us with our fantasy take. Y'all could follow Just Good Network or Fantasy Squad Podcast on all of our social medias on Instagram and Twitter. That'd be much appreciated. Leave a like, leave a follow. Really helps us out. And yeah, whenever we'll be here every week on Wednesday, either all three of us or at least two of us will be here every week.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, our other host, Jalen, couldn't be here. He should be back next week. He's just a little sick right now. But yeah, we appreciate all the questions. Keep asking questions. We love the fan interaction.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be afraid to ask anything about any trades, any players, anything. So yeah, we really appreciate y'all taking time out your day to watch us, and we'll see y'all next week.
Next week, Wednesday, from 8 to 9, usually, Eastern time. So, see you guys later.
Have a good day, everybody.